Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be talking to you about algebra and the basics of algebra. Hopefully I finish all of algebra, so section 2, which is algebra. Hopefully I finish all of it either in this video or in the hopefully maybe in the second part of this video if it does turn out to be too long. And yeah, let's get into it. So first we're going to be talking about the basics of algebra. These are the rules that you need to remember while doing anything that is related to algebra. So first we're going to be talking about numbers. So negative or positive numbers. So plus and plus makes a plus. A plus and a minus make a plus. A minus and oops, where did the 8 come from? A minus and a plus make a minus. Wait, sorry, this shouldn't be plus, that should be minus. And a minus make a plus. Simple. So a plus times a plus is a plus. A plus times a minus is a minus. Minus times a plus is a minus. And minus times minus plus. Simple. So I'm going to write an example what I mean. So let's say we have the number minus 2 times by plus 3. So we remember that the rule is minus and a plus equals to a minus. So minus 2 times by 3. For now, just ignore minus 2, ignore plus 3. Just say this is 2 and 3. 2 3s are 6. And now that we know that minus times by plus equals to minus, this is minus 6. Next, we are going to be doing letters multiplied together. So A multiplied by B multiplied by C equals to A, B, C. In algebra, the x's are often left out. So if you ever see something like A, B, C, it just means A times B times C. Then you'll get G n squared, which is G multiplied by N multiplied by N, because N squared equals to N times by N. G n squared means G times by G times by N times by N. When there's a square outside a bracket, that means you square everything inside the bracket. Let's get on to terms. What are terms? Terms are a collection of numbers, letters, and brackets. Collection of numbers, letters, and brackets. That are all multiplied or divided. Let me write that down. So let's divide. There you go. Either you can write this down and make a note of it so you can remember them. So a term would be 4xy. So here the term is the x and the y. So term equals to xy, which is 4 times x times. This means 4 times x times y. Now let's get into simplifying or collecting like terms. This is grade 3, so it shouldn't be tricky. If it is a bit tricky, you can just Google it and find some more questions and just practice on them. So we have question 2x minus 4 plus 5x plus 6. 2x, so we can see that there are terms and there are numbers or integers, whole numbers. So we separate these. So we separate these, and then we separate these two. So 2x plus 5x which is 7x, and minus 4 plus 6, or 6 minus 4 equals to 2. In the end, your answer would be 7x plus 2. The reason I didn't add 2x with 6 or 5x with minus 4 is because they do not have x next to them. Because they don't have x next to them, you cannot simplify them with other numbers, with x terms. Right, let's get into next. So what's next? Powers and roots. So if you don't know powers, power is basically a very useful shorthand. So 2 multiplied by 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 2. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 twos. So instead of writing all of this again and again, you can just write 2 to the power of 6. That's easy. So that's what powers are. And roots are the opposite of powers, where you just square root them. So 36 square root would be 6, because 6 squared is 36, while 36 and the root is 6. So now I'm going to be talking to you about 7 rules that you should remember while dealing with powers or roots. So rule number 1: when multiplying powers, you add the powers. I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's say we have 3 to the power of 6 multiplied by 3 to the power of 4. This would be 3 to the power of 6 plus 4, because it says there's a multiplication sign here. So instead of saying 9 to the power of 6 times 4, 24, we should write 3 to the power of 10, because we do not times the base number. We just take one of these, put it there, and just put the powers on them. And we just add the powers. So 6 add 4, which gives us 10. Rule number 2: when dividing, you subtract the powers, which is the opposite. Which is the opposite of rule number 1. When dividing, subtract. So let's say we have 5 to the power of 4 divided by 5 to the power of 2. We grab one of the 5s, either this one or this one, really doesn't matter, but you just grab a 5, and 4 minus 2 equals to 5 to the power of 2. Rule number 3: when raising one power to another, you multiply them. So when raising one power to another, you multiply. What I mean by that is, so let's say we have a bracket over here, and we have 4 squared in the middle, and we have 3 to the outside. In this case, you wouldn't do 4, 2 plus 3, because we have a bracket and not a multiplication sign, right? So in this case, you'll grab the base number, which is 4, you'll grab the power, which is on 4, which is 2, and multiply it by the power outside the brackets, which is 3. 4 to the power of 2 times by 3, which is 4 to the power of 6. Rule number 4: x to the power of 0 equals 1. So anything to the power of 0 is 1. So let's say we have 75 to the power of 0, that would still be 1. Let's say we have 100 to the power of 0, that would still be 1. Let's say we have 1 million to the power of 0, still 1. So anything to the power of 0 is just 1. Some people also make the controversy that 0 to the power of 0 is also 1. Some scientists disagree. I don't know it myself. I don't care. I'm too busy focusing myself. If you want, you can just Google that up and find out if 0 to the power of 0 equals to 1. I'd say yes, because that's the rule. And now, rule number 5. Rule number 5. Oh, we just did rule number 5. Rule number 6. 1 to any power will still be 1. So let's say, let's remove that 3 and say 1 to the power of x will still be 1, because x can be anything. So 1 to the power of anything is still 1. So let's say we get 1 to the power of 100. That'd just be 1 times 1 100 times, which would still give us the answer 1. Rule number 7, and the last rule that you need to remember, is fractions. Apply the power to both top and bottom. So fractions, apply power to both top and bottom. So what I mean by that is, let's say we have 1 to the power of 3 over 5, and we have 3 outside. This would turn, so first, this is a mixed fraction, and you transfer this into an improper fraction, so which would be 5 times 1 plus 3, which would give us 8 over 5 to the power of 3, which, because every number has a power to the 1, by the way, so remembering rule number 3, we just times this by this and this by this to get 8 over 5 to the power of 3 to the power of 3, which would give us 512 over 125. That's it. So you apply the power to both the top, the numerator, and the bottom denominator. Simple. Now, so those were the 7 basic rules that you need to remember. Now, I'm going to be quickly going through the 3 tricky rules. So 8 equals negative powers. Negative powers. What a negative power is basically means just flip it upside down. 1 to the power of 2. So 2 to the power of minus 1 would just be flip the denominator of 2 on top of it, just turn into fraction basically, so it turned into 1 over 2. Let's say we have 7 to the power of minus 2. Now this would turn into 1 over 7 squared, because we just got rid of that negative power and turned it into a positive power, but flipped it. So this would be 1 over 49. Simple. Let's get on to the 9th one. 9th rule, which is fractional powers. So let's say we have 25, 1 over 2. This would mean that we'd square root 25. Why square root? Because there's a 2 as the denominator. So we'd square root 25 and we'd get 5. And the 1 just means power the number by what's on top. So in this case, we have 1. So this would be 5 to the power of 1, which is 5. So let's say we had 36 to the power of 2 over 2 over 2. So we'd square root 36, we'd get 6, square 6, and we'd get 36 again, and that's it. Now the last one, the two-stage fractional powers. Two-stage fractional powers. So we have 64, 1 over 6 times by 5 equal to 64 over 1, 6, 5. This would turn into 2, 5 equals to 32. Because 1/6 of 64 is 2 square, power it to 5, and you get 32.